Takeru Kobayashi is synonymous with the world of competitive eating. His slight frame belies his outstanding ability to eat extraordinary amounts of food in ridiculously short periods of time. But his life hasn't been without controversy. Watch on to discover the truth about this legend. Every 4th of July since 1972, Coney Island hot dog outlet Nathan's Famous has held its iconic hot dog eating contest. In the 2001 edition, a competitor entered the field who changed the game and turned the world of competitive eating on its head. At first glance, Japanese native Takeru Kobayashi didn't seem like much of a threat, considering that the scrawny 23-year-old weighed in at a measly 131 pounds. Yet when the dust settled, he'd eaten his way to a decisive victory, consuming 50 hot dogs in 12 minutes to double the previous world record. In a 2014 interview with the Freakonomics podcast, Kobayashi explained the secret behind his stunning upset. As he explained, "The key to me was that I had to change the mentality that it was a sport. It wasn't having a meal. Rather than trying to stuff as many dogs down his gullet as quickly as possible, he developed an odd but effective technique. He first dipped the hot dog bun in water to break down the starch, then squeezed out the excess moisture and ate the little bun balls separately from the wieners." It's no secret that competitive eating isn't a normal way to consume a meal. Unsurprisingly, cramming that much food into one's body during such a compressed time period can carry some serious health risks. Competitive eating can result in such health woes as gastric ruptures, and it can even lead to seizures that are triggered when sodium levels drop dangerously low. A 2007 study entitled Competitive Speed Eating: Truth and Consequences concluded that competitive eaters were likely to develop such maladies as obesity, intractable nausea, and vomiting, and even the need for surgery to remove the stomach. While Kobayashi hasn't experienced any of those problems, he has encountered some issues from his competitive eating and his training, including exhaustion and shortness of breath. The latter occurred when his stomach became so full that it caused organs to shift inside his body. His lungs were pushed up so high by his bloated belly that there was no room for them to expand. One of Kobayashi's most significant health scares came in 2007. In fact, there were fears he wouldn't be able to compete in that year's edition of the Nathan's Famous contest when he was diagnosed with arthritis in his jaw. He was unable to open his jaws more than just a little bit, and it was painful to widen his mouth just enough to stick in the equivalent of more than one finger. Despite the discomfort, he managed to soldier on and compete. It's difficult to determine how much of a factor his jaw problem played, but either way, he wound up losing to Joey Chestnut, who ended Kobayashi's 6-year winning streak. The United States government will occasionally grant a foreigner an O1 visa, a difficult-to-obtain document that is only given to individuals who demonstrate extraordinary ability or achievement. These special visas allow people who receive them to live and work in the U.S. for an extended period of time, and they are doled out sparingly. According to federal regulations, the O1 non-immigrant visa is for the individual who possesses extraordinary ability in the sciences, art, education, business, or athletics, or who has a demonstrated record of extraordinary achievement in the motion picture or television industry and has been recognized nationally or internationally for those achievements. Apparently, being able to eat insane amounts of food somehow fits the bill as an extraordinary ability. In 2010, Kobayashi declared that he had obtained an O1 visa and could thus work in the US. Regarding his exceptional skill, he shared, "In my case, that ability was competitive eating."
100 hot dogs in one set. How long will that take?
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay, wow.
As Kobayashi continued to dominate Nathan's 4th of July competitions, his incredible victories propelled the popularity of Major League Eating, the organization that runs eating contests for Nathan's and other sponsors. But in 2010, a rift formed when Kobayashi balked at the league's exclusivity contract that he and others were required to sign in order to compete in events sanctioned by Major League Eating. The contract would have prevented him from competing in non-MLE events. He told the New York Daily News at the time, "They want complete control over me. I just want to compete and do what I love. They are trying to take away my freedom." The National Post managed to reveal details of the contract, which illuminated Kobayashi's reluctance to sign. The contract restricted the ability to earn any money from outside the MLE. In addition, the MLE was also deemed exclusive representative for its performers to negotiate any revenue opportunities such as advertising, film, TV, and endorsement deals. When Kobayashi refused to sign a contract with Major League Eating in 2010, he was barred from competing in that year's 4th of July hot dog eating contest. Nevertheless, he was hopeful that something could be worked out heading into the event. He told the New York Daily News, "I want to be in it more than anything. I am hoping they will change their mind. If I compete, I guarantee I'll win." Ultimately, no deal was reached. And then things started to get weird. Even though Kobayashi was banned from competing, he still showed up as a spectator. Speaking with ESPN, he said that fans at the event began chanting for him, which spurred him to jump on stage, hoping that officials would relent and allow him to compete. Instead, he was arrested and then faced charges of obstruction of governmental administration, resisting arrest, trespassing, and disorderly conduct. About a month later, a judge dismissed all charges. While the charges against Kobayashi stemming from his 2010 arrest were ultimately dismissed, his contract dispute with Major League Eating remained unresolved. Nathan's had a long-standing relationship with George and Richard Shea, the brothers who founded the organization. Even though Kobayashi could no longer compete in the annual 4th of July competition, he remained a 6-time world champion. However, this didn't prevent Nathan's from removing the competitive eating pioneer from its wall of fame on the Coney Island boardwalk. George Shea denied that Kobayashi's removal was a retaliatory strike for his refusal to sign an exclusivity contract. He told the Brooklyn paper, "Kobayashi actively removed himself from the world of professional eating, and as a result, we must make room for those who will continue to engage in professional eating. We did not drive him away, he changed what he wanted." Kobayashi disagreed, telling the Brooklyn paper, "Images can be taken off the wall, but I hope the history stays with the memories the people have." Throughout much of his career in competitive eating, Kobayashi's biggest rival has been Joey Chestnut. Nicknamed Jaws for his prodigious ability to stuff his face faster than just about anyone on the planet, Chestnut has earned several world records of his own. As it turned out, he was one of the few to be able to give Kobayashi a run for his money, winning Nathan's mustard belt almost every year since 2007. And thus emerged one of the most heated and bizarre sports, or pseudo-sports, rivalries of all time. In fact, ESPN thought the whole thing was fascinating enough to serve as the basis for one of its 30 for 30 documentaries. In July 2019, the network debuted The Good, the Bad, the Hungry. The film ostensibly focused on Kobayashi's rivalry with Chestnut, but it also ended up highlighting the problems that Kobayashi had with Major League Eating co-founder George Shea. As Kobayashi told the Japan Times, "He used Joey Chestnut to conceal the fact that he had a problem with me."
Joey, what are your thoughts on the film?
I think, for the most part, it is accurate. It gives Kobayashi his due. He really did come in 2001 and kick butt.
Kobayashi's prowess at eating ridiculous amounts of food in a very short period of time has brought him a certain degree of fame. That has led to him being hired for commercials for a variety of products. In 2007, for example, a spot for MasterCard's Priceless.com campaign featured him calmly stuffing an entire hot dog into his mouth while classical piano music tinkled in the background. He appeared in another MasterCard ad in which he faced off in a convenience store hot dog eating contest with fellow competitive eater Sonia the Black Widow Thomas. Kobayashi got into the beer game when he showed up in a Coors Light spot as he entered a bar and caused the nervous bartender to quickly erase an all-you-can-eat sign from a chalkboard. His other commercial work includes ads for the Western Canada Lottery Corporation and one for the sports marketing firm Thuzio, in which Twinkies are used to lure him into a meeting with the company's co-founder, former NFL player Tiki Barber.
Welcome to Thuzio, Mr. Kobayashi.
Twinkie?
Kobayashi has been a formidable opponent against his fellow humans, but how would he fare in an eating challenge that pitted him against a member of an entirely different species? TV viewers found the answer to that question in 2003 when he appeared on Fox's Man vs. Beast, a series of bonkers specials that pitted extraordinary people against various animals in weird competitions. They included a sumo wrestler attempting to win a tug-of-war with an orangutan and a sprinter racing a zebra. In Kobayashi's segment, he faced off against a 1,089-pound Kodiak bear in a hot dog eating contest. Alas, Kobayashi's signature technique, which had previously led him to so many victories, proved to be no match for the bear. Even though it probably didn't even realize it was competing in a contest, the bear was still hungry enough to inhale more hot dogs than Kobayashi did. After his loss, Kobayashi said he would like another shot at taking on the animal, though he did admit that he was very scared of the bear.
When the bear came out, I saw a flash of fear for a second in Kobayashi's eyes.
You might assume that the best way to train for a competitive eating challenge would be to eat as much as humanly possible as often as possible. But the truth is that that strategy is more likely to result in a hospital visit than it is to win any contests. In fact, Kobayashi physically works out as hard as any athlete when he trains for a competition. In an interview with Weight Watchers, he revealed that he would hit the gym 3 times a week for weight training sessions that left him with rippling six-pack abs and bulging muscles. His ideal competition weight was 132 pounds. There's one more key element to Kobayashi's training: water, and lots of it. He told People magazine in 2019, "I have to put something inside the stomach to make it expand, but it doesn't necessarily have to be food. I train with water. So I'm not training for long periods of time by hauling food. I'm training with water expanding my stomach." Professional sports is rife with bitter rivalries, and in the world of competitive eating, there's no rivalry more intense than the one between Takeru Kobayashi and Joey Chestnut. Kobayashi, after all, revolutionized competitive eating, winning Nathan's famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest for 6 consecutive years until getting toppled by Chestnut. While there's no love lost between the two competitors, Kobayashi leveled a big allegation against Chestnut when he accused him of cheating. In a 2019 interview with TMZ, he was asked about Chestnut's ever-increasing numbers, as he once consumed a record-setting 74 hot dogs at the Nathan's contest. Through his interpreter, he told TMZ, "It is questionable that the size of the hot dogs are even the same from 10 years ago." Responding to claims that Chestnut had been cheating by not eating all the food, Kobayashi replied, "I've personally, definitely witnessed some cheating, yes." He cited an example from a pizza eating contest years earlier in which he claimed that he witnessed Chestnut throwing the crust, which is the hardest part to eat, into the box the whole time.
He thinks that I hate him. I don't hate him. I respect him. I do love beating him.
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more mashed videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.